Free agency targets for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's get it. So this video is sponsored by BetUS, and guys, while the season may have ended just 2 days ago, there's still stuff NFL-wise you can bet on BetUS. And right now, guys, Super Bowl 59 odds are out right now, and the Jaguars have the 14th best odds to win it at plus 3,000. So if you're big on the Jaguars next season, you can put some money down on the Jaguars. But, there's also NFL draft odds, like who will be drafted first, who will be the first non-quarterback to get selected. That's out on there. And also any other sport that you guys may be interested. I know NBA is going on right now. MLB is coming up soon. Whatever you guys may be interested in, BetUS will have you covered. And they have a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits, okay? So 24/7 customer service, 24-hour payouts. Thank you to BetUS for sponsoring this video. Now let's talk about some free agency targets. So free agency targets for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, first we got to set the table for the Jaguars. Now, right now, the Jaguars per spot track have $17.2 million in cap space available. Okay. Now, this number will increase because, first of all, the salary cap will increase this upcoming season like it does every NFL season. But also the Jaguars will be able to make certain cuts and everything to, be able to expand the amount of cap space they have. So, with them having 17.2 million available, it doesn't sound like a lot, but look, they are 19th in the NFL in available cap space. So it's not like they're super, super cash strapped. I mean, they're going to be able to do some stuff if they really want to. It's just about who are they going to prioritize, what positions will they prioritize, and how are they going to attack this. So I did make a video a couple weeks ago talking about Jaguars that I would personally cut, okay, to kind of open up some money. And some players, I said it, and I'm not going to go into details why in here, but some players I cut, if you guys want to go back a couple weeks, I made a video about it. I would cut offensive guard Brandon Sheriff to save $9 million. Left tackle Cam Robinson, that'll save you $16.1 million. Defensive tackle Foley Fatukasi will save you $3.6 million. Safety Rayshon Jenkins, $5.1 million. And wide receiver Zay Jones will save you $4.4 million. So that equates to $38.3 million in cap savings. So that will increase your cap to about $55 million available. And then you can really go, okay, let's spend some money. So the number one player I would go out and get, or go internally and get, and that's Josh Allen. Look, Josh Allen is the easiest guy to go after. Look, he was the number 7 overall pick for the Jaguars in the 2019 draft. He finished 2023 with 17.5 sacks, okay? Went to the 2024 Pro Bowl, and he's only 26 years old. He was drafted by the Jaguars, and he's made it very, very clear that he wants to stay in Jacksonville, okay? He wants to be signed here long-term. We don't hear that from a lot of superstars like that. Most notably, our boy Jalen Ramsey famously did not want to be here. But it's looking like the Jaguars will do the same thing they did with Cam Robinson in 2022, same thing they did with Evan Ingram in 2023, and that is franchise tag him and then wait to sign him to a new deal, okay? Because it was clear that Trent Baalke said Josh Allen will be a Jaguar in 2024. And then Josh Allen's camp went out there and said, well, he hasn't hit us up. We haven't started contract negotiations. So, I imagine that will buy the Jaguars some time. So with all that said, it might mean Ridley is gone. I don't know. We'll get into that later. Now, the number 2 player I would go after is a familiar name, guys. Very familiar name, and he's going to cost some money. But that's going to be defensive lineman Danell Hunter, guys. Look, it feels like we've been connected to Danell Hunter forever. I mean, before the 2023 season, it was rumored, will the Jaguars try to trade for him? And then he worked out a 1-year deal, like I guess, I don't know, an extension. I don't know what he did. I think he just redid his deal to just get more money, and it's on a 1-year deal. But it's looking like the Vikings will not be able to keep him by all accounts. And also the Jaguars, before the 2023 trade deadline, the Jaguars tried to go after him. But the Jaguars didn't have a lot of draft capital. I mean, with the Calvin Ridley thing, their 2nd and 3rd round picks were being held in escrow. So all they really had to trade was like a 1st round pick and a 4th round pick. And, on the draft, when you try to get a big fish, it's usually like you trade away a 2nd round pick. Okay. You're not really trading away 1st round picks, especially for guys on expiring contracts. You know what I mean? That would honestly, looking back, thank God the Jaguars didn't spend a first round pick to get him because, hey, maybe it helps us propel us into the playoffs. We win the AFC South, but with our offensive line and how they were looking, I mean, how far into the playoffs we're going to go? Would we have been smoked by the Browns the first week? Who knows? But look, this week it actually came out that ESPN's Jeremy Fowler said that the Jaguars and Bears are two teams to watch right now that are being heavily linked to Danell Hunter. So that's something to look out for. And look, the Jaguars need to hit a home run and just get bigger in the trenches, okay? We're starting with the D-line here. The defensive line was not good last year. First of all, finished 25th in sacks, okay, while having one of the top 3 NFL sack leaders in Josh Allen, who had 17 and a half sacks. Trayvon Walker was good last year. He had 10 sacks, but what did you have behind it? At those specific positions, you had Caleb Von Chason with 2 sacks, who's also a free agent. You have the Dwan Smoot with 1 sack, who's also going to be a free agent. You're thin at the position, okay? Get bigger there, get a lot better there, and the Jaguars need to do better there, and they need to be better in the run game as well. Okay, the Jaguars are getting gashed in the run game, and just overall, very, very weak defensive line. So an attitude change needs to go on there, and then we can roll. Okay. Now, next up, we have Lions offensive guard Graham Glasgow. So he's 32 years old. I project him to replace veteran right guard Brandon Sheriff. And look, he was on one of the great offensive lines in the NFL over there with the Lions. And he has a lot of flexibility. Look, you can play left guard, center, right guard. So you can bring him in here and say, okay, he's going to be our center. And then if Jackson Powers Johnson's falls to you at number 17, you can say, you know what, we're going to move you to the right guard. We have our center that we want to build around. Okay. So it gives you flexibility there. And similar to the defensive trenches, the offensive trenches were awful too. Okay. The Jaguars we all saw there were no run game later in the season. Trevor Lawrence had like 3 different injuries in December. It's just the wheels fell off because the trenches, the foundation of the team just wasn't good. Okay. And, I think one thing that we saw the Chiefs kind of proved to us is that, look, the Chiefs offensively, their wide receivers, they didn't have Travis Kelce was the only reliable receiving weapon that Patrick Mahomes had all season. Okay. And they went out there and won the Super Bowl. They wouldn't have been able to do it if their offensive line was trash or the defensive line was trash. Okay. They had a good foundation, and then everything else just fell into place because they had an elite quarterback. Okay. I mean, elite quarterback, you need that, but they also had a good foundation with their offensive lines and defensive lines. So that is a huge, huge thing. Next up, I have quarterback Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. How about that name? Very familiar name. I know a lot of Jaguar fans are also Gator fans. So former Gator, went on to be drafted by New Orleans, then played for the Eagles and then the Lions. And, the Jags are in an interesting spot at cornerback right now. Tyson Campbell to me is a really good player. I'm not going to let him post-injury affect my outlook on him. He still is a good player. You also have, Darius Williams going into the last year of his rookie deal. And then you have a few draft picks. I mean, Antonio Johnson was a really good day 3 draft pick, but with the Jaguars, in my eyes, cutting Rayshon Jenkins, I see Antonio Johnson playing safety. Okay. Monteric Brown had a pretty good season last year, kind of filling in for Tyson Campbell. I remember against the New Orleans Saints, Derek Carr was going at him, trying to target him, trying to pick on him, and he held his own. Okay. So you give him a lot of credit for that. And then, of course, we have Trey Herndon, who will be signing 1-year deals with Tyler Shatley until the Jaguars finally change their uniforms. It's going to go on forever. And right now, Ryan Nielsen comes in, and the Jaguars typically under Mike Caldwell played a lot of zone defense, but Ryan Nielsen is kind of more known to play like man coverage. You know what I mean? So what do the Jaguars do there? Do they try to, switch the philosophy with the cornerbacks? In 2 years, is Tyson, in 2025, is Tyson Campbell or Darius Williams even on a team anymore? Do they fit the kind of cornerback that Ryan Nielsen wants? We'll just have to see. So with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, it brings you a good player who is definitely a nasty player. I mean, he's no good guy on the field, but I think he is a good cornerback. He brings, some experience from some good teams, and I think the Jaguars have to address something there because we can't be weak at the nickel cornerback position in this league. So next up, this is a weird one, wide receiver. Okay. We had to make a decision on Calvin Ridley. Look, if you you can re-sign him to a new deal, but you're going to give up a second round pick. If you franchise tag him, which you're going to give it to Josh Allen as a third round pick. So right now the options, if you let him walk, you're going to keep a third round pick, but then he's on the streets. Or if you let him hit free agency and then you re-sign him in free agency, then you only give up a third round pick. So it's tricky there. He will have a market. Looks like a lot of teams are interested in his services. But some other guys that people mention, and look, guys, I have the Jaguars projected to re-sign Josh Allen, to give Danell Hunter a lot of money. So naturally, you can't hit the big fish at every position, okay? I know a lot of people really want T. Higgins. I know people are going to be begging for Mike Evans. We're not the kind of team to get those guys, okay? Especially with the Jaguars right now. We're pretty old at receiver. The only two receivers that Trent Baalke has drafted in his tenure has been Jalen Camp in the 7th round and Parker Washington in the 5th round, okay? There's been little to no investment at wide receiver through the draft, so it's time to get younger at the position, okay? The Jaguars, I do see going out there and getting wide receiver. Now, it's more along the lines of probably like a Noah Brown, Josh Reynolds from the Lions, like a Van Jefferson from the Falcons. How about like a Mecole Hardman potentially? You know what I mean? Get a cheaper guy and just go younger overall. We just don't have a lot of, when it comes to spending money, I am spending money in free agency to fortify the trenches, okay? And I'm spending, a pick in a top 3 rounds on a wide receiver. That's my plan. I don't know about you guys, but overall, free agency to me, like I said, all about bending the trenches. So with all that said, these are some different free agency targets for the Jacksonville Jaguars to look at. I will be coming out with a Calvin Ridley video probably on Thursday or Friday. So I want to get more into depth on what we do there because it's really tricky, you know what I mean, with all the different draft picks and everything at stake. So thank you guys so much for supporting this channel all throughout the regular season. And of course, the offseason, guys, I don't stop making content, okay? I'm going to stick with you guys and, keep pumping out the content like I've been doing since 2017, okay? Thank you guys for rocking with me. Thank you to BetUS for sponsoring this video. Like I said, 125% deposit bonus and a link down below. Thank you guys for watching. Go Jags.